Hello everyone and welcome back to Planet Zoo. This is a bit of a different episode as I rebuilt the zoo, and I did record the rebuild for this time lapse. Now I started off trying out the ramp down into a little viewing area prior to recording and decided I liked it enough that I began to record after the fact and began the detailing around the area using aquatic rocks to stay on theme with the enclosure I had in mind, the king penguins. Now you can see here that I decided to put in some tables, some benches for viewing purposes and for some place for people to literally sit down and chillax and watch the penguins swim around in their habitat in the water. King penguins don't like warm water, so I had to put in the temperature regulator for the water. However, being that this is a zoo and not a place to view ugly machinery, I also go about hiding it from the public. And then putting some amenities in for the guests. Looking at the aquatic rocks, I saw the archways and thought that they would make aesthetically cool entrances for the king penguins enclosure for both the staff and the guests. Now here I was having an issue with the guests complaining about said ugly machinery that we put down before, and so I decided that it was time for it to move just slightly further away from the footpath. However, I was having a bit of a struggle because of the plants that I had and the limitations of the map boundary, so I spent a little bit of time just wiggling and finagling things around until such time I was actually quite happy and everything else was quite happy with their placement. Being that it was now nighttime, I thought it was a really good time to start putting all the lights in to help brighten up the area and make sure that crime stays down low. So I go around the entire enclosure doing exactly what you see here. For this part I begin planning out the exterior wall of the Oceania exhibits, then I decide against it and instead focus on just the main one, which will eventually house the kangaroos, wallabies and koalas. This habitat will be one which visitors can pass through from one side to the other. I want the entranceway into the Oceania zone to resemble that of its native forest, so I decide to make a nice garden to showcase this. And here we're going to put some lights in to help light up this area. This was the moment I realized I had made a very big mistake and had made my enclosure for the penguins 10 times larger than necessary. I liked what I had done, just went a little bit too big, so I began the process of resizing my habitat and the surrounding area. As I began to put the enrichment items into the habitat, I realized that I didn't wish for the public to see the fish feeders, so with the cunning use of aquatic rocks, I hid them. Time to put the security cameras in. I felt these aquatic rocks outside were a bit much and the footpath too far away from the enclosure, so I downsized this too. Finish off the penguin enclosure, placing in the final enrichments and painting the terrain in a way that is appeasing for the penguins. At this point of the rebuild, I found the area around the train station to be a bit bland. So I make the decision to put a garden in it to make the area more aesthetically pleasing and to temporarily hide away the train station in its current state. After the downsizing, the enclosure for the kangaroos, wallabies and koalas was now too far away. I have to remove the paths and bring it a lot closer. Time to put the finishing touches in for this area. With all the foundation work done, I can now begin work on expanding the Oceania area out by putting in the platypus enclosure. There we have it, an almost complete enclosure, but unfortunately that is all we have time for today. As always, I have been your host SirFirecat, you have been watching Planet Zoo, and until next time, take care.